Thanks so much for joining in. This is Ken Falker here. I'm a licensed health insurance agent, and I am actually using this opportunity to help people who need insurance going into 2025 from the marketplace or Obamacare. Today, I would like us to talk about what the options are for anyone who needs insurance. And I really just want to use the opportunity here to show you the process of going into a platform and getting the help that you need. To make it really simple, I'm just going to walk you through the process here using my own personal information just to show you how that would work if you were going out there and trying to help yourself. So, um, this is a very exciting platform. So it's really simple and it's designed to make it really easy for you to apply rather than go through the healthcare.gov or your state marketplace. Just keep in mind, not every state will work here. So I would show you in this circumstance when that is not the case. I would kind of like show you where you would have to go and continue on the healthcare.gov or on your state's marketplace. But as you can see, this is what you would see once you click on my link, which I would also add on to the comment or description of this video so you can actually go ahead and start. The link will take you to this page. So you would notice here that this is my information. And you can see that's my national producer insurance number. So if you can use that number, you can track me back to the insurance database that I'm a licensed agent. So that gives me the right to solicit and sell insurance. So just this full disclosure here, every enrollment you would make, obviously, I would be entitled to a commission for selling a product if you ever end up enrolling. Um, but again, I want us to remember my role here is really just to help you see how these things will work for you and make sure you're making the right decision. So let's jump in. Um, I just want to start off here by talking about what the Affordable Care Act is, which is basically the federal government law that's enacted during the Obama administration, which is why it's actually referred to as Obamacare. That kind of gave that marketplace where people can shop for insurance without restrictions on health conditions. And this is what actually came down to through the law, the Affordable Care Act, or is popularly abbreviated ACA or Obamacare. Either way, they're all the same thing. So what that did basically was created a marketplace where insurance companies will be offering policies that you can buy or plans that you can buy, and then the state or the federal government does subsidize those costs for you and make sure that you can actually cover your family. So once you get on this page, what you would notice here is they're going to ask you some really basic questions. I would always say, please make sure you're keeping the information here very, very accurate because if you put anything wrong in here, you might have trouble going through the process down the line. So I just want you to remember we take your privacy very seriously. So there is no reason why you should be worried about anything going wrong with your data or your personal information. We take that too seriously. As you can tell, we also have the option to leave it optional, but I would recommend you do that fully just because if you don't do it now, you might have to worry about it later. So I will hate that to be your situation. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in my zip code for where I am right now, which is in Savannah, Georgia, and then we'll move on to I'm going to put my name here, for example, just to make it simple for anyone to see just how that process will flow. A good contact number is always a good thing, and that's just because people would like to contact you if you need help. So please make sure you're providing a good phone number. Um, so once you have all that information in, you will go ahead and click See Plans and Prices. My bad. I think I missed something here. The email address. Okay, let me put my email here. My bad. Okay. And we now have that information correct. So we can move on to see plans and prices. That will take us to this page, right? So it says who needs health coverage. So basically what they're asking you here is think of this from the perspective of you and your family, if you do have a family, of course, that you would like to cover under the insurance. So you would obviously start with yourself. I'm going to go in this case myself. I'm just going to put my age here and then I'm going to identify my sex. Now they're going to ask you questions like, do you use tobacco or are you eligible for coverage through your job? Or are you also eligible for Medicaid? Those are things that if it applies to you, please check the boxes. If not, just leave them alone. And you can add spouse, for example. I'm married. I can add my spouse here. I would just go ahead and put that in. I would also ask the same question, pregnant, using tobacco, or eligible for coverage through Medicaid, CHIP, or Medicare, any of that. If it's applicable, please do well to check those boxes. Add dependents, I'm going to add my kids here. And let me see, I'm going to put the age of my daughter here, and just to make sure that I have that data collected as well. So we're going into the shopping, knowing we have all the information, I'm going to add my son in there. Now, all of that is again the same thing here. If any of those things would apply, you would check those boxes. Otherwise, just leave them alone. Once you've done that, you could move on to continue. Obviously, you add the dependents as much as necessary. Well, we'll move on to the continue button here. Now, you see you have the household size of four, which is myself, my spouse, and the two kids. And now they're going to ask of the estimated household income. We're going to go ahead and just assume that I really try to make this for everyone to see $100,000 a year, just to put that into perspective. Please do well to estimate. Remember, they're only estimating here. They're estimating that your income for 2025 will look like this. It doesn't mean that it will be exactly like that, but I would always warn here that remember, this is going to be rectified when you file your taxes. So make sure you're not underestimating your income so you would get more credits. Because if you do, they would ask you to pay back something down the line. So try to keep it as reasonable as you can just to make sure you're not on the hook for a pay of extra that you were taking for advanced premium tax credits. Once I throw that number in there, I will move on and continue. It would tell me right there, that's what I qualify or what we may qualify. Remember, it's using the language may qualify for this amount because they're assuming that given my family size, given my income of the household, that is what we would qualify for as advanced premium tax credits. So whatever we go shopping for a plan, you would have a plan that you can buy and then you would only pay the difference. Like it's saying here, you're having just plans that could pay, you would only have to pay like $257 per month when your premium tax credits applied, right? So that is really what that first step is, showing you what you will actually be having for advanced premium tax credits to go into the shopping process. So we're going to move right on to continue, which will take us to that doctor page. Again, you can actually enter your doctor here. I'm just going to show you examples. If you put your doctor name there, they will find it. Why is this important anyway? Let me talk about this. This is important because if you want to make sure that your doctor is within the network of a plan that you're going to buy, then it's really important that you put that information in here because if you do not, then they will be shopping blindly, right? They're just shopping for plans, not knowing if the doctor is in that network or not. Usually, what that would mean is when you go and use that service with your doctor, you might be paying a higher out-of-pocket cost or copay. Unlike if they were under the plan's um, coverage. So just make sure that you put that doctor's name in there, and it will take you to a plan and show you if that plan has the doctor in the coverage or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that doctor there, for example. And when we go shopping, next up, they will ask you for the prescriptions. If you do take prescriptions, just put them in here. That is just to say if that plan covers that prescription, they will show you what that prescription will cost or will be. So I'm gonna, for example, just use a classic medication here. Just to give you an example. It doesn't have to be just to so you can see when you go shopping, it will show you what that prescription looks like under the cost, right? Now, we are on the page of the plan itself. So thank you, Vivian, for joining. I see you're joining from an iPhone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
All right. I'm just glad you joined, but I'm not sure. What I would like us to do is I'm going to roll this back just because I wanted to catch up.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So I'm going to
Thanks.
roll it back and just make sure you follow up with this. And by the way, if you don't mind, just go ahead and introduce yourself so that way I know how I can best help you. Um, and where you
Okay,
actually.
my name is Vivian. I'm actually in Maryland,
Okay.
and I'm interested. When I saw the caption in the group, I was like, "This is something that would be nice to listen," because I'm also looking for
Insurance.
for some coverage.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. I'm
for
glad.
2025.
Yeah, I'm glad you took the time to join me here. I know it's sounding a little redundant when you try to help the your own folks because if we don't do this to ourselves, it's really hard to get people the help that they need out there. Myself, I'm Keglek Foka. I'm actually a licensed insurance agent. I do hold a license in Maryland as well, which is great. So it means I can actually help you on your marketplace, which is going to be different from what I'm going to show you right here. So don't get a little confused. It's just going to be different. Okay. Every state has a different platform where they operate from. So I would not even want to get you all confused, but we could definitely walk it through that process from your state's marketplace, which I will show you right away. It's a very simple one, and I will be able to help you as well because I am licensed to sell insurance in Maryland. I'm actually a resident and a licensed resident in Georgia, but I do carry non-resident licenses like Maryland and so many, I think 14 different other states. So that should not be a problem at all for me to help you, okay? Just so you know. But if you go on the same platform that I use for my partners that I use is the Health Shaper. Once you would go in there and put information, it would tell you that you asked your state does not use this platform, so they will direct you to your state. So let's follow that step. That should help us. Okay. So I'm going to try to refresh here and then get back to where we can actually help. Just basically because what this does is it gives me information that I can pick up from and help you once we start the process. So I will go ahead and just restart, and then we will be able to show you what actually I've covered so far. Let me see here real quick. I'm just going to go back to the link. That's the link that you would normally see on that platform that we on the link that I put on the on the WhatsApp, right? So if you would click on that, it would normally take you to my homepage, which is the health chapter. I'm just trying to pick that up from here. I think I have it on Zoom. Well, let me go to WhatsApp. That's even better. I'm just going to pick it up from there. So I'm going to click that. So it's going to launch that page, right? So this is what you would normally see, right? When you click on the link. So let's say we try to use your information here just for an example, right? So what would be your zip code?
It's 20710.
20710. So I'm going to use your zip code. And again, I can leave that out for now. I just want you to remember that. But the most important reason why this is important is because if you need any help, anything, I'll be able to assist you here.
Mhm.
So if you enter your name, for example, all of that information will obviously be a data that we are collecting. Obviously, we hold them very important because we know your privacy is so important. So we do not mess with that information anyway. What basically that would do is I'm going to move on to say C plans because you would probably do this on by your own. But please
Mhm.
remember to put the information there because if you don't, there's really no way I can contact you if I need to help you. But just remember, that's really all that what that is. But if you leave it out, it will still take you to this page. Now, what they're going to ask you here is a very simple question. Who needs health coverage, right? Now, in your
Mhm.
situation, is it just yourself or do you have other family members you would like to include in the coverage?
Just myself.
Just yourself, okay. So you would put here your age, okay? I know it's a very rude thing to ask a lady their age, but if you don't mind in this context, you would have to enter your age just because insurance is sold based off your age, okay? So
Mhm.
we don't want that to be. So if you can get me the age, I would enter it here and we'll move forward.
It's 51.
51, okay. Now, and then you identify as female. Now, remember, they're going to ask you some other things here, like do you use tobacco, you're pregnant, or eligible for any of these other coverages? Are
Mhm.
you familiar with any of those? Medicaid? CHIP is actually the children's health insurance, so that will not be your case. No, you're not qualified for Medicare either, right? So leave all of that as it is. And obviously, if you had any other person, you would add them there, as you can tell, right? Add my spouse,
Yeah.
add my dependent. So what we would
Mhm.
do in your case, we would just move on. This would show us who is the household. Now, the next thing you will notice here is they're asking you to put in your estimated income, right? For 2025. Now, this is a very important thing because all what you would get as a credit is based off your income for the year. So try to give your best guesstimate. My warning here is rule of thumb is don't overestimate or underestimate. Because if you underestimate, you would have tendencies when you file taxes, they might have you pay back the difference, right?
Mhm.
So always try to keep it close. If you overestimate a little bit, it's fine, just because you know you are not going to pay back anything. But if you underestimate significantly and you don't have the
And you
trouble
pay
of,
too little.
yeah,
Then at the end, you pay
they'll
back
catch you
when they.
back. They'll have you rectify that. Definitely. The government is not going to play with that. So, just your best guesstimate, what do you say would be the income for 2025? Let's use that as an estimate. It doesn't have to be exact.
Let's say 80.
80,000. Okay. So just plug that in there and move on. It will tell you exactly what your tax credits might look like. Say you may be too high to qualify for savings, right? So what they're doing there is they're calculating now that, oh, you have enough income to pay for coverage for yourself. Well, let's say you put something less there, obviously it will show you that, okay? I'm going to go back and just show you that just for the sake of that. I'm going to throw in there, say like 40,000. It's
Mhm.
going to show you what you qualify for if you were earning 40,000. You see that? So this
Mhm.
is really what you can do. Make sure, okay, don't put yourself on a hook to pay too much later on. That again, I'm just trying to show you that that's what would normally be the case. If you qualify for something, it will show you exactly what you're qualifying for. Okay. This is why this process is really important because from here on now, it's going to be different. What you will notice is they're going to tell us that you don't have what do you call it, service for this particular platform because your state has its own what they call marketplace, which is the
Mhm.
Maryland Health Connect.
No. Mhm.
So we're gonna go ahead and continue anyway, which you would see, like I was saying, it would tell you that. But they will show you plan estimates anyway for the area. Now, what you will notice here is when you try to go and apply, it will not allow you to because the Maryland Health Connect is typically
Connect.
not running on our platform, but they will recommend you to go over there. So
Mhm.
here's what I normally do at this stage, because my process or my job here is to walk you through what you need to watch out for. Okay, really important what you need to watch out for because it's a very tricky game when you buy insurance. I will just walk you through what you see here. So they're showing you what the monthly premiums are, what
Mhm.
what other basic deductibles and all those kind of stuff. My number one thing I always like you to watch out for is don't be fooled by the premiums.
Mhm.
Okay? Don't look at that for a start. Let's take a look at what they call deductible.
Mhm.
That's really where I'd say you would normally want to check first. So you notice here that the cheapest plan would obviously have the highest deductible, which means you are on the hook for $9,200 before the insurance starts to pay
We'll
a
just
dime.
kick in. Mm-hmm.
Right? So what it means is if you were going to buy that plan, everything you're going to use services for would require you to make payments until you've paid up to 9,200, right? That's the rule of thumb. Well, if you don't mind that, it's fine. So what you want to look at then is the doctor
Deductible.
visits, what the copay is. If it's okay with you, I think $35 is a doable thing. Or as you can tell right here, that drops to 15. So you see that maybe just for a couple of dollars more, you've actually reduced 35 to $15, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta weigh all those things, weigh them really nicely. The other thing that I also want to make sure you want to pay attention to is your doctors. Are they in the network?
Yeah, that
Usually,
was one question that I would have, I wanted to ask you about the
yes.
doctors, the
Interestingly,
network of
it did
coverage.
not give me that option here, but usually in the process, if you had put in all the details like was required, it would ask you there to enter your doctor's information. So please do well to enter that information as well.
Mhm.
Okay. And if you have a preference for particular providers, you can actually see there's that option for carriers. You can select and it will only show you the carriers that you want to see. Says, for example, if you want only Kaiser, it will show you only Kaiser. If you want specific, then you can select.
Mhm.
But the bottom line here is on that process, I just probably skipped it for the fact that they did not enter that much detail. They did not ask for it because they realize automatically you don't want to provide details. But if you do it on your own, which is something you would see, one of the pages you would find there is it would ask you for the doctor's information and your prescriptions.
Mhm.
Which again, I don't want to put this here because it's a public information, or at least people can see that publicly. So I don't want to put anything private here public, right? But when you do it on your own, it will ask for the doctor name and the prescriptions. Please do well to put that information in. And then it will obviously factor that in here. It will show you if the doctor is covered under the plan or not. Okay. That's really what I
Mhm.
wanted you to pay attention to, which is where actually I think I had gotten to. This
So
is
the
my
doctor's
case.
information on the deductible
Yeah.
and if you have
This is this
prescription.
yeah, this is for example what I did. I was using this as my case for example. This is what it would look like, right? See, these are my doctors. I don't mind sharing this with you, but these are my doctors. They are actually telling me this plan takes the doctor takes this plan. You see that?
Mhm.
That's what will look like when you fill out all that detail. Okay, just so you know. But in your case, I did not fill it out, so it didn't really provide me that information. But they wanted you to realize that is what you would see. And again, this is a different market, so I don't want to get you confused. But I just wanted to show you that you see I'd enter my doctor's information and it's telling me that the plan takes this doctor. You see that?
Mhm.
Or the other plans that do not, it will tell you does not take this doctor, right?
Got you.
So yeah, so that is very important, right? Because you can tell for sure if you're going to that doctor, you might be paying out of pocket, high cost out of pocket. So that is really very good point that you actually noticed that that's a very important thing. So make sure you put that information that is required and you would get all the necessary information that you need to go in. Um, One other thing that I was going to go ahead and just talk about is, well, we talked about the out-of-pocket network, which is really important that you pay attention to that, the deductible. And obviously, the last thing I always talk about is dental and vision.
Mhm.
Uh, they normally don't come with your health insurance, unfortunately. Some plans do add it for just to make
But
their
some
services
plans give you
attractive.
like one or twice a year.
Yeah,
So
but
like
it's by
once.
no means a guarantee that they're going to give you full coverage for whatever dental or vision you need. So if you need things like that, again, we do offer it on this same platform. If you click there, it might show you something if your state has that. But if you do not have any, don't hesitate. I'm going to share with you the different dental options that I do offer privately, and we'd be done more than happy to guide you, walk you through all of that. Um, so bottom line here is just make sure you provide the necessary information. And if it works out for you, great. Find the plan that you want. And then let's say we add this to cart. I'm just going to show you this, what that would look like when we go to start shopping. So if we go ahead and say start application, what you will notice here right now is what I was talking about. You see, they're asking you to call me, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is my number. Why they're asking you to call me is because that platform will not work with Maryland Health Connect. So I will definitely be able to walk you through to Maryland Health Connect, which again,
Because
okay.
if not, they will keep on trying to keep you out because
No, it
I
will send
mean that it
it will
will
send
make
you my information so you can call me. That's really what will be the case.
okay,
Call us to
okay.
get free enroll quote. So what that will do is you will now reach out to me, and then I will definitely be able to walk you through. Which again, I'm
Oh,
just gonna show you what that would look like. Let me type it in here real quick.
that's for dental and vision, right?
No, no, no. What your own
Okay,
normal
that's for the
health
normal.
insurance will
Okay,
look like, right?
okay.
I'm just gonna Google it or type it on here. I think it's marylandhealthconnect.gov. The good thing is I do work on that platform as well. Maryland Health Connections. Okay, just use that one and go ahead and click the home of Maryland Health Connections. I'm just walk you through what you would notice once you get on there. The first thing is if you don't have an account, create one. Okay. If
Mm-hmm,
you've never used
mm-hmm.
it before, go ahead and create one. Okay. So that's what you would normally do. Just create an account. Fill out that details and all the basic stuff that
Yeah,
they would need. Create your
okay.
login information and everything else. Once you do have that, you can go ahead and sign in. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
once you sign in, I do have an account here, which is it's what they call it, um, provide an assistant account. So what you would normally do is once you go in there, which is what I was gonna try to do, but it looks like the password is expired. So let me see. Um, but what I want you to remember here is once you go on there, it's basically going to give you the option to get help,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I think, give me just a second. The account has been locked. All right, let me do it on a Chrome browser. That should work better. A Chrome browser should work better. Hmm, let's do it here because I know that one should be able to work for me. Because what I just want to show you there is how you can actually ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be more than happy to take it from there. Hmm, I don't know they're asking for language now. Maryland Health Connect. Oh, okay. This is the benefit. This is actually for us agents, so that will not give us what we want. I want to open the regular, what you would see as as a consumer. That's what I want to go on to.
Mm-hmm.
This used to be, yeah. So it's going to be marylandhealthconnections.gov is actually what you will be looking for. Marylandhealthconnection.gov. That's the website.
Mm-hmm.
Look into sign in again, create account. I already told you that. Just make sure you create an account. Once you can sign in, um, okay, let me say password, change the password. Forgotten password. Um, Just want to go in if it would let me. Usually that would expire after a certain time anyways.
Okay.
Mm. All right. See what they're doing now. All right, but bottom line is what I want you to realize is once you are in, there's going to be a section at the top which will ask you to get help.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go on there, it says get help. You can actually search. You can search with either my name or, yeah, my name actually will be the best. You can put in my name in there. Or at the best, if you really need help at any time, don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact me either through WhatsApp and we can walk you through it. I don't know if you have the time right now, we can actually do that. But if you prefer to do it some other time, what I'd like you to do is go on there, create that account. And if you need
Mm-hmm.
any help, feel free
Then I can
to,
call you.
yeah, feel free to jump in and have me jump in and walk you through it. What it's basically going to ask you are the typical things that will ask you to buy insurance. And like I showed you there, it just might be a little longer on that, the Maryland Health Connect, just because they have different things that they would like to know.
Mm-hmm.
But bottom line is once you provide them that information, it's a really simple process as to what you would qualify for. They would show you all the different plan options. And if you need help, I would be more than happy to jump in and help you. I just didn't even know that this account has been put on
Thank,
hold for now.
thank
Uh,
you so much for the
mm,
explanation.
no
A quick
problem.
question.
Go ahead.
I know this is a private, do you guys, I don't know if that always like include a flexible spending account, or is that
Mhm.
a possibility?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Great question. That's something that I also want to highlight here that it's very important that you're aware of that. But you should notice that on the plans that qualify for it, it will show you that. Okay.
Okay.
If the
Mm-hmm.
plan is an HSA plan, usually it's a high deductible plan, right? So it should
Mm-hmm.
show you any plan that it qualifies for HSA, it should tell you that right at the top of it. If it's HSA, it's eligible for HSA or not, the plans will normally say it at the top. That would typically be bronze plans, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we go ahead and put bronze. I'm just gonna take that off. And then we
Bronze
show
means
us
what?
bronze there. Okay, this is something I also was gonna talk about. Now, these are the different categories of how the health plans are categorized. So a
Mm-hmm.
bronze plan is basically like the share of cost is the plan will cover like 60%, you would take up the remaining 40%. That is a
Um,
bronze. The silver plan, that will move from 70 to 30. So the plan will cover 70% and you would pay like
okay.
30%.
Okay,
And then the
gotcha.
gold plan would be 80% and you would pay like the remaining 20%.
20%.
And then
Gotcha.
that catastrophic plan that you see there, catastrophic is usually like people who have really crazy um, financial situations. You can buy a catastrophic plan. Or if you're under a certain age, I think 31, you can also buy a catastrophic plan.
Gotcha.
So that is something to be careful about. But again, just remember that is really what the insurance different types. And if you will notice there, when the plan is qualifying for an HSA, it will state it somewhere on there. I'm going to try to find one for you. Um, Usually it will say it there that is HSA eligible. But the rule of thumb is just remember all high deductible plans will be
Mhm.
qualifying for those things. And if you
Okay.
do not have if the plan itself does not state it, just remember that it's got to be high deductible. So most of these are high deductibles. Or almost every typical bronze plans will be high deductibles, right? Because you're looking at 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. Those are high deductible plans.
Mm-hmm.
If you do need help with setting up an HSA, I do have the options to guide you through that as well. We could do that through, there's so many plan options you could do. You could do privately, you could do it through mutual funds like Fidelity, or through your bank. I don't know what bank you use,
Okay.
but they are very straightforward. Basically, what you do is you go and tell them, I wanna open up an HSA account. So what they would typically do is, okay, you establish an HSA and you put money in there, and you make all your payments for your medical bills through that account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is a no-brainer. The reason there being, all that money you spend there, you deduct it when you file your taxes. Right? So
Really?
yes,
That's one aspect that I did not know.
that's what that is. So once
Mm-hmm.
you put money in the HSA and spend it down, all the spending that you put in there, I think it has an up to, like, I think for a family, I think up to 8,300 that you can
Mm-hmm.
put on an HSA in a year. So all the money you put in there, you deduct that when you file your taxes. So don't, I'm glad you brought that up. I should have, it could
No, thank
totally would have
you.
missed me.
That's something that I did not know about that part.
Yes. So, so use that. A lot of times people don't realize that. They just go and spend the money. But remember, if you put it in an HSA and you spend it, once you go and file taxes, all that HSA amount is deducted from your income. So that is
Mm-hmm.
the good thing about it. And it carries over, right? So you're not losing in anything,
Yeah,
even if
that's
you don't
my most
spend it all.
important thing that you carry the rest over. It's not
Yes,
like you
yes.
just contribute and then whatever you
No,
don't use is roll over
it's
and
always rolling
oh,
over. And the good
right.
thing there is you're basically saying, I have enough money to protect myself. If I really get to a
Mm-hmm.
situation where I need to pay bills,
I need to pay bills.
the
At
money is
least that
there.
can is always very helpful. I like to use that.
So
Yeah.
I might just go ahead and send you a couple of links that you might need for that. If you don't mind, I would probably send them to you. But if you do bank with Bank of America, or all the major banks would do that anyway. But the simple ones is the one I originally recommend. I just send you the link. You can go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
establish them really easily. It is a very simple process. It
Thank you
doesn't
so
really
much.
take, yeah, it doesn't really take
Mm-hmm.
much to establish one. They would just want you to make sure you're depositing money in there just so you can
Money in there.
spend it. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
see this right here? This is an HSA plan. You see that? I just wanted to
Yes.
show you that. So it's always
Yeah.
going to
Okay.
state there that is
Okay.
HSA eligible up to
Mm-hmm.
6,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every plan that is HSA deductible will state it clearly. Just keep that in mind when you shop. It's also
Okay.
going to state it very clearly if it's HSA. And I would say don't forget to use it because it's so important. And that money is always going to carry over. So the only ones that don't carry over fully, I think, is the flexible spending accounts,
Mm-hmm.
which you can also establish. And here's the trick. You could do both, right? So to increase the amount totally, you could do both a flexible and an HSA. The flexible spending accounts basically say you can carry over, I think, 600 to the next financial year. But those are mostly through employer provided coverage. So I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
get you all worked up with
I
that. But
prefer the HSA.
the HSA should work just fine. But where I usually use the flexible is for my dental and vision expenses.
Oh,
Because I'm 100% guaranteed that those will come up. I'm going to see my vision specialist or my dentist and
mm-hmm,
anything like that.
mm-hmm.
So this session is going to time out in 10 minutes, which I think we've talked about all the things that we needed to.
No,
Um,
thank you so much for the explanation.
no
Then
problem. Anytime,
I will find time and
reach out. What the WhatsApp number you see
as
there,
soon as
if you
possible.
drop a message
Mm,
directly to me, I'll be more than happy to. When you
I
have the
see.
time and ready to do this, I can sit right here and walk you through the whole process. And I'm probably also would have had my account, everything set up properly
Set
because
up.
I
Okay.
did not even realize that the Maryland account is not running at this point just because I haven't tested it yet. I just thought about helping people first to know that they can go ahead and get them help that
It's
they need.
okay. We just
Mm.
started, so
Yeah, everything is usually the case, right? Until you start testing them and then you know what works and what does not work.
right.
So yeah, that I was glad you did join, and obviously, please don't hesitate.
Thank you
Reach
so much.
out.
I was
Mm.
waiting with the 10, there was another link, 10 a.m. to 11. I've been waiting there until I said, is this actually working? That's why
Yeah,
I leave and just
I
attend.
realized that the Zoom sometimes are crazy just because they don't swap into each other. They're different Zoom meeting. I realized, okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
I
gonna
was
put
there
it
since
one.
10 o'clock. I
I'm
waited
gonna
for
put the
about 20
same.
minutes. I'm like, Is
I'm
this
sorry
actually
about that. It was a
functioning?
total mishap on my end because I had created separate events and then realized it was not worth it. I could actually just do one Zoom room
Oh,
and then have everyone click onto that same Zoom room anytime you would
right.
join.
Yeah, that would be a lot better.
Mm,
And
yeah, they were suggesting that for me just to make it easy for people to come in separately. Then I realized, well, it's not worth it. Let me
no,
just
it's
do it
not.
like that. If people
Yeah,
join in, I can always still ask you to stay on and we'll take another session to help you. So I'm glad you did.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No, for
I'm
nothing.
just happy you brought this in the group, and hopefully a lot of people will join and follow this
I'm
because
gonna
this is
keep
very
on
helpful.
reiterating. I know you need to remind our people 1,001 times 'cause when they realize,
They look for the money, but they don't want to use it on themselves.
right,
To
before
have a
they
good,
realize
good
what they're happy to deal with, because most of the time people
until
don't.
until an incident happens. That's when they
Exactly, they
start
start
saying,
to look for
"Oh,
insurance, and then it's so late because you have to pay out of pocket all of that money out of
yeah,
pocket.
that's expensive though. It's
Hmm.
expensive at the time that is when you need it. It's an emergency, and you realize that you don't have coverage.
Hmm.
It's scary. Thank you so much.
No
I'll
problem.
be
Anytime. And if you
getting
have
in
any
touch with you
question,
soon. Yeah,
just let me know. Thank you so much again for
yeah.
keeping me company and for joining in. And we stay in touch. I will definitely be sending
Okay.
you those.
The links
Yeah, just text. Just
for the HSA.
give me a quick response privately on WhatsApp. I'm gonna send you those
Okay.
links now.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
That way, I can send you all the links directly to your account, your number. Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Mhm. All right.
Have a great day.
You do the same. Thank you so much again for your
Bye.
time as
Bye-bye.
well. Bye bye.
Mhm.